That's the first tri-band Wi-Fi 6E wireless router, and today I want to see what's it all about. Now, before starting this video, I would highly recommend to watch the episode number 11 of my KB series if you haven't already, because that's where I talk about Wi-Fi 6E technology. It's only for a couple of minutes, but there is some information there which I think is useful to know before watching this video or even before dealing with the Wi-Fi 6E wireless router like this. ASUS GT-AXE11000. It's a gaming wireless router, ASUS ROG or Republic of Gamers. So it has ASUS Aura LED lighting, which can show tons of different colors, but can somehow reflect the network status too, which should be a cool feature for some people. But I can't deny the fact that it's kind of huge. It's just a little bit smaller than my original PS4. But unlike the PS4, which I can pretty much put it everywhere with no problem, this is a wireless router, and there are some guidelines that I should pay attention to before finding a permanent location for it. Now, if I compare its specs with the AX86U, except their Wi-Fi, they're actually very similar to each other. 1.8 GHz quad-core processor, 1 GB of RAM, 4 LAN ports which are 1 gigabits per second, 1 WAN port which again is 1 gigabits per second, 1 multi-gig port which is 2.5 gigabits per second and could be configured either as LAN or WAN, 2 USB ports which over here are USB 3.2 and over there 3.0. But as I said, their main difference is their Wi-Fi. This one is tri-band and that one is dual band, and that extra band over here is actually a 6 GHz band, which is something new in the Wi-Fi world. It also has 8 antennas which are not removable, and if you have watched the episode 11 of the KB series, then you know that's a rule for indoor Wi-Fi 6E access points or wireless routers. The wireless router is now powered on. Its WAN port is connected to the internet, and a computer which is connected to one of its LAN ports will be used to do the basic configuration. I've already showed how to connect a wireless router to the network and how to do its basic configuration in the KB series. But because this is rather a unique wireless router, let's right now and quickly do its basic setup here. I'm going to choose advanced settings, then select the operation mode. This will be a wireless router, so I'm going to select that. It's connected to the internet through the WAN port and not the multi-gig port. My internet is also cable, so it doesn't need username or password, and the IP address should be assigned automatically. Now here I should select names and passwords for my wireless networks. This is a tri-band Wi-Fi 6E router, so I can have one 2.4 GHz, one 5 GHz, and one 6 GHz wireless networks. Here it is asking me whether I want to enable the Wi-Fi 6 feature or not, and reminding me that some wireless adapters might have connectivity issues, so I need to make sure they're using the latest version of their driver. Next, I can select the function of this boost button. There are 4 choices here. I'm gonna select this one for now, but I can change it later if I need to. And finally, it will check to see if there is an update available for the firmware. And in my case there is, so I'm gonna install it. At this point, the wireless router is connected to the internet and its 3 Wi-Fi networks are up and running. The Wi-Fi settings are pretty much the default ones and I haven't done any advanced configuration. And I leave it as is for the rest of this video, and any advanced configuration hopefully will be covered in other videos. Now, in order to test it, more specifically test the Wi-Fi 6E of it, I need to have a client device which is also Wi-Fi 6E capable. And that's why I installed a Wi-Fi 6E wireless network card in my desktop computer. And that's currently my only Wi-Fi 6E client device. In the first part of this test, I'm gonna use this desktop computer, which is around 60 feet away from my wireless router and is currently my only Wi-Fi 6E capable client device, to check the signal strength or RSSI of every frequency band of this wireless router. The wireless router has automatically selected channel 8 for the 2.4 GHz network, channel 48 for the 5 GHz network, and channel 37 for the 6 GHz network. I have also installed a Wi-Fi analyzer app on this computer, which is gonna help me to do this test. Now, because of this, which is the lower the frequency, the higher the range, the expectation on paper is that the 2.4 GHz signals would be the strongest here, and then the 5 GHz, and then the 6 GHz, which actually turned out to be true. Now, the RSSI or signal strength for the 2.4 GHz was very good. For the 5 GHz was good, but not as good as the 2.4 GHz. For the 6 GHz though was not very promising, and there is a good chance that if I go any further away from the wireless router, I'm gonna lose my connection. In the second part of this test, I replaced the AXE11000 with an AX86U to check the signal strength of its 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz networks here and compare it with the AXE11000 and see which one is better. To my surprise, the AX86U showed me more or less the same numbers as the AXE11000. So it looks like they have more or less the same range. No wonder that became the best wireless router in 2021. I mean, based on that video. This wireless router on paper supports the same maximum speed of 4804 megabits per second for both 5 GHz and 6 GHz bands. But that's only on paper. In reality though, it's usually much more complicated than that. The 5 GHz band has been around for quite some time now, and many wireless routers are already using it, so it is much more crowded. Also, it has limited spectrum and less available channels compared to the 6 GHz band. So does that mean it should be slower than the 6 GHz band? Well, to answer that question, I decided to run a few iPerf speed tests. And if you're not familiar with iPerf, then feel free to watch that video first. In my iPerf speed test, I used two computers which are connected to each other through the router and tested the speed between them in different situations. One of the computers was my Wi-Fi 6E desktop computer and the other one was my Wi-Fi 6 laptop. At first they were close to the wireless router, each one about 6 feet from the router. The PC was connected to the 6 GHz network and the laptop was connected to the 5 GHz network. Both connections were very strong and very good. With this setup, I was able to reach maximum 1.37 gigabits per second, which is very good considering the fact that Wi-Fi is half duplex and the maximum Wi-Fi speed of the computers for those frequency bands was 2.4 gigabits per second. Next, I moved the laptop further away. It was now about 65 feet from the wireless router, and the quality of its connection changed from very good to good. With this setup, I was able to reach 1.09 gigabits per second, which again was good. And finally, this time I moved the PC further away and put the laptop where it was before. So this time the quality of this connection was very good, but the other one was okay and sometimes even weak. With this setup, the maximum speed I got was 468 megabits per second. Okay, so I guess there's a lot to talk about here. First of all, the 6 GHz band on this wireless router and on paper has the same maximum speed as the 5 GHz band, so it's not any faster. It doesn't have a better range either. In fact, as we saw, the range was actually much worse. And I was able to see the impact of that on the speed too. Because when I moved the 5 GHz client further away, the connection became a little bit slower. But when I did that for the 6 GHz client, it became significantly slower. But that's only one side of the story. The other side is the fact that the 5 GHz is more likely to experience interference. And that good quality connection can easily slow down to a crawl. But that situation is less likely to happen for the 6 GHz band. So I should keep all those things in mind and somehow plan and design my wireless network accordingly. Now the question is it worth buying the ASUS GT-AXE11000 today in 2021? Probably not, because first of all, it's too expensive. It's around $550, which is a lot of money. Besides, currently there aren't too many wireless client devices that support Wi-Fi 6E. And the ones that they do, including my desktop computer, might experience some connectivity issues in the beginning. In my case, my PC wouldn't detect the 6 GHz band, so I just had to go back and forth between different driver software versions until it could finally actually detect it. So the bottom line is it's too early, too expensive, and for the average users, I just cannot recommend it. However, for tech-savvy people who probably want to experience this new technology firsthand and don't mind the price or also the fact that they might have to wrestle with it a little bit to make it work, then why not? I'll link it below so you can check it out yourself. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Share it if you think others might like it too, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this. Also, a special thank you to my supporters on Patreon. This video is going to be first available for them and then it will be published on the YouTube. I really appreciate your support, and hopefully in the future I can make some exclusive content for Patreon only. Thank you very much, and I will see you soon.